We're here now. Our pickup truck squeaks as we stop at a red traffic light next to a highway entrance. A van stops right behind us. I wasn't paying attention to whose perspective I was. Help! The traffic is mostly empty. We've only met a car or two. The slightly cold air is ruffling my hair as it swipes through the passengers. Swipes through the passengers? I still can't believe we decided to ride this rusty old junk. It looks like something from the Vietnam War. I mean, junker? I smile at... I don't know who it is. I smile as I look back. I guess not Faith. Faith and Natsuki are sitting in the bed of the truck on a fixated piece of wood on each side, holding the side to keep themselves steady. Behind them are a couple of bags, mostly consisting of packed tents. You don't need to worry, Faith. I made sure to pick something reliable. Monica says that as a voice cracks from the car's dashboard and a green indicator lights up. Are you having fun there? Said someone. The voice came from a black transmitter. Monica grabs it and holds it out to Faith. The button enables you to speak. I know how a transmitter works. Faith clutches the transmitter in her hand and pushes the button. Is this like a walkie-talkie or something? There's like a police radio thingy-dooper with the little curly cord. Fuck you and your stupid fucking ideas. Victor's laugh cracks through the transmitter as she returns it to Monica. She returns it to its place, where a magnet holds it tight. Who the hell is Victor? I don't like this at all. Faith is right, you know. This isn't that safe. From when you were such a crybaby. Since when? Oh, shut the fuck up! This has nothing to do with being a crybaby! Alright. Stop being so angry, okay? Now, there's no need to rip our throats out, alright? So I would suggest you stop your ex-bullshitting. From when you're a peacemaker. Monica, can't you just throw him out of the car? Don't bring me into this, alright? Your arguments, your problems. With that, silence grows between us. A black SUV is driving to the crossroad from the highway entrance, slowly stopping. The red light on our line is still shining. Isn't that car supposed to go? Faith narrows her eyes as she looks at the black SUV. Monica, looking at the license plate, reaches for the transmitter herself and starts speaking into it. Victor? Yeah? We might have a problem. The black SUV. Faith freezes after she says that. Then she reaches for her bag and starts searching through it. Holy tits, you might be right. At least this time. Cut that fucking bullshit of yours and be serious for once! All three of us are surprised by Monica's assertiveness. She's rarely like that. Alright, you uptight nonsense. What do you want to do? We could maybe escape them by the highway. You want to try out how fast that van and truck could go? What did I just say? Yeah, fuck yourself too. Monica then puts the transmitter loudly back into its place and reaches for the gear shift. Yeah, it wouldn't make sense to make a move on us now, though. Monica stops and takes the transmitter again. Doesn't matter! I don't want to risk hurting the others because some assholes decided to fuck with us! Can someone explain to me what's going on? Monica looks coldly at Natsuki as she puts the transmitter back. Not now, Natsuki. Are we going to run into conflict? Monica looks at Faith after she asks. With a nod, she returns her attention to the SUV. Just now I noticed that Faith has her M1911 in hand, ready to strike. Ah, fuck. My thoughts run like crazy as the light turns green, allowing us to move. Monica slowly starts moving the truck down the road as she watches the SUV. Suddenly, the SUV's wheels squeak as it charges at us. Shit! Monica rapidly pushed the accelerator, causing the wheel to squeak as she heads forward. We nearly missed the black SUV. The SUV manages to turn around and start chasing us. Fuck, why now? Monica turns the wheel to the right and drifts into a random street. Both the SUV and Victor's van follow us. Air flies through my hair as Monica picks up the transmitter and starts yelling into it. Victor! Can you try and distract the goddamn SUV? When I turn around, I see that one of the chasers is trying to peek out the window. The chaser has a ski mask over his head, so I can't identify who it is. What I can identify is a handgun sticking out of the window as well. Get down! We managed to keep our heads down before the gunshots. The front glass of the truck didn't survive, though. Victor! Monica continues to yell into the transmitter, and Victor finally responds, poison coming from his voice. Can't you see I'm riding a fucking van? Oh, fuck your sense of humor! I wasn't making a joke! Another gunshot suddenly rings out. Monica, Natsuki, and I duck to try and avoid it. However, Faith doesn't. When I look at her and want to ask why she is trying to aim with her gun at the SUV... So why the fuck did you have a gun? Monica also notices Faith with a surprised look. Since I want to protect myself! That answer satisfies Monica for now when she takes a left into another street. As I look behind, none of Faith's gunshot had hit the SUV. Your skills are shit, no, that's me. I thought it was Monica again. Your skills are shit, you know that. Then be lucky you don't shit yourself with yours, asshole! Don't need an apostrophe in yours. One of Faith's gunshots hits the SUV's front glass, making a big crack. That probably angered our chasers because they speed up and hit our truck. Fuck! Faith loses stability and falls onto the bags. I noticed that the black SUV is getting right next to us. The guy with the handgun has gone inside. Monica, can't you speed up? Believe me, I had the accelerator on the fucking ground! Even with that, it isn't enough to run away from our chasers getting next to us. I have an idea! Brace yourselves! Monica immediately swings the wheel to the left and then back to the right. She hits the SUV hard, which sends it out of the road into a nearby electrical slope. Everyone alright? With a collective sigh, we all continue down the street, relieved that the danger is gone. Finally, we stop in front of Monica's house. Monica gets out of the car and goes to the van. The gunshots are still ringing in my ears as I get out of the car as well. My butt hurts from all the sitting. After a few seconds, I hear someone's footsteps approaching me. You need another R and wait, is it a P or an... You need another P. You need another P in approaching. Hey, you okay? I turn around and see Amy. She still has her glasses askew a bit. No, they aren't. They're perfectly straight. And actually, I'm pretty sure that this Amy sprite... No, I know for sure. This Amy does have sprites where her glasses are crooked. So you could use those if you wanted to. Yeah, I'm alright. Amy nods to herself and looks around. She's worried, but I'm not surprised. We only just got shot at and chased. Who do you think that was? You would like to know too, huh? Well, it would be real nice, to be honest. Faith walks up to us from my other side, her arms crossed. But I think one thing is certain. Someone wanted one of us dead. Amy thinks about what Faith says, and then shakes her head. Why, though? We all stay silent as I lean against the truck, anyone not really wanting to answer the question. Amy raises a valid point. Who was that? Before I can think about it more, I overhear some shouting, coming from the direction of our van. Oh, there's Victor. Monica and Victor are arguing over something, while Monica is shooting her hands up. Is it even worth speculating who is the desired one? Faith also looks at the arguing and frowns. I think it is becoming more and more obvious. After Monica and Victor finally stopped arguing, they both had decided to send us home. They also agreed on sending security divisions to streets we were all living in, whatever that meant. They were meant to arrive in them in 2 hours. Monica then started arguing that 2 hours is too long. I don't remember what it was precisely. Victor was so sick of it that he proposed to just drive us home. Monica, after a bit, agreed to it. We went just like before. Yuri, and Amy with Victor, while the others with Monica. When we were riding towards Natsuki's house, she suddenly said that she didn't want to go home, and that she'll think of an excuse for her father. From that moment, I should have known that she was planning something. Even her stares at Monica should have raised a flag. When she did reveal her intentions, I thought she was crazy at first, but I didn't want her to be hurt, so I complied. And that decision led us all to here. The truck slowly stops in front of my house as Monica sighs. She taps the steering wheel with her fingers as she looks in the distance. All right, off you go. All three of us look at each other. We all recognize the uneasiness in our looks. I then get out of the car while Faith and Natsuki open the trunk and start putting things on the sidewalk. I help them, and after a while, all of our things are out of the car. One more thing. Monica suddenly speaks up as she has her head down. She then looks at us, frowning to herself. Nobody will know about this, all right? Natsuki looks at me with her eyebrow raised. I notice that she subtly shakes her head. Even through that shake, I close my eyes and then nod. You can count on us. Monica smiles to herself as she starts up the car again. The smell of gasoline spreads as she drives off. Faith frowns as she picks up her stuff in one of the tents and takes them to the house, leaving me and Natsuki alone. Natsuki sighs as she frowns at me. Is she mad that I accepted Monika's request or what? After a while, she gives up and goes to me.
Something is definitely happening, but what?
Do we even want to know? Natsuki looks in the direction Monika drove off.
We could try asking her.
I don't think that's necessarily a good idea.
Why not?
Didn't the phrase, "nobody will know about this," tip you off?
And don't you think we have a right to at least know, so that we can help her if needed?
Hey, I don't want to meddle in someone's business. If you want, you can. Before Natsuki can respond, Faith appears and enters the conversation.
He's right, Natsuki. She did something, and it's best if we leave it alone. I would like to know what is going on too, but I think it's going to cause a lot of bullshit for us in the future.
Natsuki looks at Faith and then at me.
You know that you're doing the same mistake right now.
My eyebrow automatically rises as I look at her. What mistake?
The same one you did with Sayori.
My mind stops working as I quickly look at Sayori's house. I can see through the window that she is currently in her kitchen, drinking juice from a glass. I breathe in as I step closer to Natsuki. That isn't the same situation.
Of course it is! Monika is going through a dark time, and you just ignore her just like with Sayori. You told me that you regret not noticing what is with Sayori, and if you want to better yourself, then don't do the same mistakes. Please, just think about what would Sayori want you to do.
Natsuki almost pleads with me with the last few words as I go over what she said. Doing the same mistake? Is she serious? Did she mean making the same mistake? Probably. What would Sayori want? I avert my eyes towards Faith, who's leaning against the fence watching us. She averts her eyes on the ground, clearly thinking about something. After a while of watching her, she looks at me and suddenly nods. Does she want me to go? Didn't she say it's going to cause trouble? But she looks as interested as Natsuki is. And to be fair to Natsuki, she is right. Going like this to Monika? I sigh as I look back at Natsuki. You're right, that I shouldn't repeat my mistakes. I place hands on my hips. My hands! As I look down and think. My eyebrows frown as I contemplate whenever going to Monika is a good idea. Alright, we'll go. Under one condition. Natsuki looks relieved as she relaxes her face and smiles.
Okay, what condition?
We'll make it quick. But first, let's take our stuff inside. Natsuki frowns as she looks at me and then at our stuff at the ground.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
As said, both of us take our stuff inside and with a goodbye, head off towards Monika's place. Monika's house is just around the corner when I get doubts about her. Who was that chased us? They were pretty persistent about chasing Monika. What if Faith was right and we are just going to cause more trouble? I'm taken back to reality as Natsuki knocks on the front door. She crosses her arms as she waits. No response.
Really?
I think this is a clear indication that she doesn't want to visit. Natsuki ignores me as she rings the doorbell. It takes me a while, but I can hear quiet steps coming towards the door. Just as Natsuki wants to ring again, the door opens. Before we can do anything, the both of us are grabbed by our shirts and thrown into the house. Due to the force, I lose balance and fall to the ground, my chin hitting first. Ow!
What the fuck? Ugh!
I feel a light kick in the stomach before hearing a fall. Natsuki has tripped over my body and ended up next to me, a little bit shaken up.
Can you explain to me? What the fuck are you doing here?
Monika's very loud question makes us both look up. Monika's frowning the hardest she can. Her left is formed in a fist. The other is holding a silver revolver, ready to strike. I stare at the gun for a good while.
Huh?
Monika's anger brings my focus on her, while I blink several times.
Did you get how stupid of a decision you just made?
Natsuki quickly scrambles to her feet and takes a defensive position.
We just wanted to ask you what's going... And you wanted to do it now? Jeez.
Jesus Christ, Monika, can you calm down? I speak up when I'm getting up. Afterwards, I put my hands forward to signal Monika to calm down. Monika then sighs and puts her gun behind her back.
I'm sorry for yelling, but this isn't the time to talk about something like this.
We get that this isn't the best time, but...
You couldn't have picked worse, Malone!
Monika scoffs at me as she continues further into the house and upstairs to the second floor. Upstairs is one word.
You still haven't explained a single thing about what's going on!
Monika, while continuing, turns her head in Natsuki's direction.
You know that I'm not telling you because of your safety, right?
Monika almost growls with her last words as Natsuki stops. Monika still continues up.
Because of our...
Natsuki looks to the ground, not really knowing how to process what Monika said. She then looks back at her, anger returning to her voice.
You're not making any sense, Monica!
Natsuki gets even more angry. You mean angrier, as she tightens her fists and continues towards Monica. Uh-oh. I get upstairs too and follow them into a room. Once I enter, I recognize Monica's bedroom. She still has her tent packed. I close the door behind me as Monica places her gun on the table. I notice she has her transmitter on the table.
Well, will you answer me? I already told you it's for your goddamn safety, Natsuki, so stop pestering me about it. Then can you tell us at least something? Monica, believe me when I say that. We just want to help you to get through, well, all this and... You want to help? Well, yeah, that's why we came.
Monica looks at Natsuki, annoyed. Then she goes over to the door and opens it.
You will help me by not getting yourself in danger and leaving.
Natsuki, with her mouth wide open, frowns her eyebrows.
Monica, will you stop talking in riddles? It's fucking annoying! Why don't you just spit out what is going on?
Natsuki, can you calm down? Before I can say what I want, the transmitter surfaces to life. Surfaces! And a voice starts talking from it. Aston, do you copy? Some sort of a weird voice comes from the transmitter. It sounds really robotic. Maybe it has gone through some sort of a voice changer? Why the fuck would someone go through that trouble in the first place? We both look at Monica, who picks it up and starts talking into it.
Yes, I do. What is it?
Both Natsuki and I look at each other, confusion being clear on our faces. A black car just stopped in front of your house. I identified its license plate. They want you to finish it. Horror runs through our faces as we realize in what situation we are. Monica, after a while of horror in her eyes, speaks up.
Can you do something?
No, I can't break cover, otherwise the whole thing fails. You're on your own. Monica taps her fingers as she thinks. After a while, her face hardens.
Roger that.
The transmitter cuts off. Monica lets it fall to the ground and then destroys it with her foot. That's when we hear the front door open. Multiple steps into the house.
Shit, shit, shit!
Monica quietly swears as she grabs us both by our t-shirts, takes us to her closet, and opens it.
In.
Monica, this is one of the most obvious
In!
I don't protest anymore as I let Natsuki and myself into the closet. The closet is big enough for the two of us as we enter.
Be quiet!
Monica quickly and quietly closes the closet, leaving us both in the dark. I make out that she grabs her gun and goes over to the door. I can barely see her in the dark, but I can still see Natsuki's wide eyes.
Malone?
Natsuki's voice delivers to me in quiet whispers. Yeah.
Do you know what's going on?
I avert my eyes from her, shame covering my thoughts. What do you think, Natsuki? You know as much as he does, and you're both in the situation. What do you think is going on? I know, but I can't tell you. Oh, you really do know, huh? After a bit of consideration, I shake my head in disapproval. Suddenly, I hear the door hitting something, and Monica hissed through her teeth.
Shit!
Somebody punches Monica, and she falls to the ground, dropping the gun in the process. Steps across the room indicate the attacker is closing on her. Natsuki is brave enough to slightly open the closet door, letting us both see what is going on. Surely the attacker is truly closing in on Monica. The person is wearing all black and is some kind of a ski mask.
You're not getting me that easily!
Monica tries to kick the attacker, but misses. Instead, the attacker grabs her leg and twists it.
Ow! Fuck!
Monica tightly grabs her carpet in order to ease the pain. She then tries to kick him with her second foot, successfully. The attacker stumbles and lets go of her foot. Monica gets up and runs for her lying gun nearby. She's unsuccessful when a second attacker, also in black, a bit shorter, emerges from the hallway and rams Monica into a desk. Monica falls to the ground, hissing from the impact while the second attacker keeps their balance. Before Monica can reach for the gun, the second attacker starts kicking her into the stomach.
Fuck!
Both Natsuki and I are watching it from the closet, flinching every time Monica's kicked.
I can't take this anymore!
Natsuki steps forward, but before she can move with her plans, I place my hand on her shoulder. I don't want to lose you. My eyes dance in fear as I look at her, shaking my head. After a while of staring, Natsuki relaxes her posture and nods. As I look back, Monica is still lying on the floor, holding herself by her abdomen, surrounded by the attackers. The attackers both look at each other and nod. One then takes out something shiny. It takes me a while before recognizing the silver shininess of metal handcuffs. The attacker goes behind and grabs Monica's arms. Monica tries to get out of the grab, but a kick to the head forces her to stay in position. Not long after, Monica is helpless about moving her hands as the attacker grabs her by her collar and yanks her on her knees. We can barely see Monica in the amount of space we can open the closet door without being seen, but the blood coming from Monica's nose is very noticeable. Natsuki shakes with my shoulder. When I look at her, she nods with her head to the attackers. Even still after what we see, I shake my head. It's not safe. We return to the whole situation as the shorter attacker picks up the broken transmitter and chuckles. I can't determine the gender of them based on that. They then drop the transmitter in front of Monica and crouch before her.
What are you waiting on?
Both Natsuki and I are a bit shocked by Monica's question, while still trying to get out of the handcuffs, fury growling from her voice.
I want you to do what my father has ordered you to do!
The attacker looks at their companion. The companion nods. The crouching attacker then shrugs and gets up. Natsuki looks at me with a look saying, What are they talking about? And to be honest, I'm wondering the same thing. The same question is what it said, huh? A tense quiet spreads until the attacker behind Monica takes out a black wire and puts it around Monica's throat. Monica lets out a surprised gasp, wide eyes while struggling to breathe.
No.
Before Natsuki can say anything, I cover her mouth to not alert the attackers. She struggles to remove my hand from her, but I manage to keep it where it is. After a while, she gives up. We then look at Monica again. She flinches with her hands, pushing against the handcuffs, trying to break them. She gives one last push as she tries to stand up. The attacker behind her notices it and steps on her legs. Monica is unable to do anything. With her face and lips getting slightly blue, Monica struggles with turning her head around. Suddenly, Monica stops struggling for air. The attackers nod to each other as the one behind Monica takes out the wire. Monica's body falls lifeless on the ground, face first. Without hesitation, the attacker before Monica then raises their foot and aims for Monica's neck. Well, this has certainly been interesting. It's in dire need of some proofreading and rephrasing and a whole bunch of, like, technical-related stuff. But, like, in terms of the story, it's actually really intriguing. Like, the way it jumps around has been kind of hard for me to follow, especially because of, like, what I mentioned probably in an earlier episode by now, how, like, it's hard for me to spot the transition text in the top left along with the perspective change on the top right. Yeah, that's a bit tricky. But they've definitely been doing a good job of, like, holding their cards. Like, they give you bits of information here and there, and it's definitely working to create the intrigue. I have more of an idea of what's going on, but the pieces still aren't all there, and I'm hoping that the full thing will create a complete picture by the end of it. But however they want to go about that, I'd say what they've got so far is definitely a solid start for the type of story it wants to be. Like, it's kind of weird seeing detective noir in this kind of format. But, hey, I'm not going to knock it for that. They're doing a good job. Yeah, if the technical stuff was patched up a bit more, this would be a much more solid experience. But, yeah. I guess the only issues I really have with it are, like, things that need brushed up. And remember, you can't trust anyone. Oh, the full credits are in the credits.txt, and I'm not going to check out. But anyway, that is Poems of Death for now. I guess we'll have to wait for the full version to find out just what the heck is going on with all this. Oh, interesting stuff. Well, that's it for now, so thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. We'll catch you next time with another mod. I don't remember what... I think After School is next on my list. Yeah, probably that. See you then. Bye-bye.